and welcome to the He Doesn't Want a Podcast, sponsored by Learners Ross Driving School and Drumbo Park Racecourse. Today is the start of Series 3, and I wanted to focus on clubs, which is why I have with me here three fellas from Newhill. I've got Carl Toner, Decky Russell, and Kevin Stitt. Lads, how are you keeping? Is all right?
Dead on. Yep. What about you?
Okay. I really appreciate you coming on. Thanks very much for doing it. How have you been getting on with the fact that we haven't had football now, competitive football, in a year it's close to now?
Not great.
No, same. I would say same as the rest of the world. Everybody's bored and they're peed off with now. Everybody's just waiting for something different.
Do you think, Carl? Do you think the fact that we've had a year off has given players more of a hunger to get back, or do you think it's put some boys off coming back to football?
You can sort of see half going, can't wait, they're road running every day, they're doing their own football training, and then you can sort of see the other ones going, just not doing anything, not paying in.
Taking easily.
Taking easy life, aye.
I think a worry for most is it's probably the same as our own club. What you're finding is that a lot of players have had too many, like, it's going to start next week, and then it was held off again.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody's trusting that it's actually going to get started at the moment, which is why the players are a wee bit unsure. But I seen he's entered the tournament. He's looking forward to it.
Can't wait. Can't wait. Ready-made pre-season.
Who's in your group, Decky? Do you know who's in it?
Rosario seconds. 30 or one of Newton Abbey old boys teams.
Newton Abbey, yeah. And Crumlin seconds, I think, are in that group as well.
Crumlin United seconds, that's it, yeah. I'm not sure who the seconds got, Card. Do you know who the seconds got?
Yeah, and the seconds got Rosario, Carriduff, and Maloney's from Newton Abbey.
Yeah, it's two good groups. It gives the reason for doing it is last year we played 6 months of friendlies. So yes, they're friendlies, but they're competitive friendlies. We had an opportunity to win a bit of silverware at the end. So I hope you're looking forward to it, because I can't fucking wait for it. So
I can see it being very competitive. Everybody will want that wee trophy, because that's going to be a unique trophy. It might never happen again.
Yeah, well, considering the amount of organisation it's had to take it, it may never happen again, so it might not. What I want to do now, lads, is I want to go on to your club history. So you've all been with Newhill from the start of the senior setup, so there's no need to go into past clubs or anything. Decky, as a senior player and club captain, would you like to tell me about why the senior team was set up and when it was set up and how you went about it?
There's been a load of amalgamations of or versions of the senior team down the years. There was one started, we were always a junior club, it was a juvenile club, but we had a lot of good players coming through who were always leaving and going somewhere else. Most of them going to higher levels, that was fair, but there's a lot of players coming through just stopped playing football because they finished at junior levels with the club. But there was a team, I would say, steadying them back 20 years ago, maybe more. My brother Stephen ran it, and it was a bit of a shambles, to be honest. But it was actually a good side, but it just wasn't well run and well organised. But that faded away. And then Ermiel, our manager now, he sort of and Ray Gorman put together a good Sunday League team when it was very competitive. And we had some cracking players in that, but the Sunday League was very strong at that time as well. Yeah. The good Rush League Celtic teams and some math teams and all. So we played in the Sunday League for about, I would say, 5-6 years. And then it sort of faded away for 1 year. And then like us boys sitting here now and a few other ones got together and decided to put a senior team together back in the BDFL about 8 years ago. And that's the senior team that we have now, and that's just went from strength to strength. That's when we really started getting players through, because we had a youth team finishing about that age, 18, 19. Carr was in that, and all their age came into it, and it just revitalised it. We were sort of struggling on one team, players who hadn't played football in 5-10 years, and we were just like a few old heads, a few young ones. And then when that team came in, that's when it really got really well organised, and we started to play good, go up through the leagues there. So about 8 years of this version of the senior team, but there has been senior team before, but this one's here to last. There's now a second team and possibly a third team coming out of it, so we're just going from strength to strength.
It's funny because for years Newhill were always known as a really strong youth team, and then not having a senior team for so long was a shame. But Carl, your side then was one of the first junior teams coming up through into seniors. But and before then, when you were going up through Newhill through the youth setup, you obviously seen people older than you going on under 18, 19, and then moving on to other clubs. You're probably thinking you would like to stay with Newhill, so getting the opportunity to do that. I'm sure you and the rest of your teammates back then couldn't wait just to stay at Newhill and stay with the senior team.
It sort of timed well. We at under 18, we won the South Belfast Cup, and then under 19 we lost in the finals. We were an all right team, not one of the better teams, but we were all right. And then I think there must have been there may be about 12 of us that now came into the senior team. But it's been brilliant. Like, it's sort of, I would say most of the team that I played with has sort of been like the real backbone of the senior team. So it's been great to sort of keep playing along with them.
Do you think that's helped you as well? Steady with, like, especially when you get, I know it's like any football team, junior level, when you get a group of young players coming in, and it can help the more experienced boys because they see these boys coming in and there's a camaraderie between them, and then it's good to get them in groups, 4s or 5s, because you know they're going to stay about, and then you know they're going to bring more in with them, to bring their friends with them. Is that where you started to see then the improvement in the side?
Definitely. See, as Decky says, our first year back in the BDFL, it was rough. Like, we were just a couple of, there was the likes of me and Decky and Dylan and a few others, and then there was a couple of fellas just thrown in it, and we just rolled from week to week. And then, as Carl says, his team came through, and they played for Connor and Foxy and all, and they had a certain way of playing. So see, when they came through and started playing with us, it sort of, we took that style on as well, and we've just went with it from there. But they like set the tone. That's when we started to see proper improvement. Like, it was a gig. The first year we went up from like Division 4, it was because of restructuring. I think we finished 5th or something. So once they came in, and we started to put good results and good performances together, and we were able to move up to the league. But there was about 5 or 6 of them. Like, it was I'll tell you, most of the ones who started Division 4 were all in their 30s and all. Like, we needed a few younger ones there to get us up through the leagues.
Yeah, but like you said, like, obviously it's finished 5th that year, it's restructured, but the fact is went up, and then we're able to compete and then continue progressing just goes to show the strength of what you have coming in.
Yeah.
Decky, tell us about that. Once you went out of Division 4 then in the restructure, what was then the case with, obviously it's been a quick progression to where you are now, but I know you won Division 1, was it? And then you won the Premier?
Yeah, it was restructured. There wasn't as many teams in the BDFL. We came in it, there was a Premier League and 4 divisions, so 5 divisions altogether. And then the restructured because teams fell away. And I think we ended up in Division 1. And that's whenever that youth team came through. And we've done well, we've done all right, but we didn't go up. But then the next year was whenever a lot of the young players matured, and it sort of, everything clicked into place for us. And we've done very well that season, we won the league. Come up in the Premier League, we were well ready for it. We knew the Premier League was really strong at that stage. That was the year Willowbank and St James left it, so they had just competed for the league with CSP as well. So they left it, got amateur, and St James went their path. But we were ready for it at that stage. But if it was restructuring done us a favour, it skipped out a couple of divisions, but they weren't there no more. There was only a Premier League, a first and a second division. So seconds went into the second division, and then the top 2 divisions were sort of strong enough. But we were ready for it anyway. So it worked in our favour. We didn't have to come through a third division, a second division, because we would have just coasted it. Wouldn't have been competition every week. You'd been playing against Premier League teams, second teams, and we were well ready for to win, compete with them at that stage with first teams, their first teams. So yeah. It looked off. It got us on our feet. A lot of boys, we had a big banner band. We wanted to get out and get in the amateur league to move up the leagues, but we weren't ready for it at that time. Finishing 5th in the 4th division of the BDFL, applying for the amateur. I think we did apply for the amateur league that year, but didn't get an interview. Do you know what I mean? We thought we would have got in the strength of our club history, our juvenile, and I think we threw a half-arsed sort of application in, and we didn't get an interview, but we didn't get no advice about it. We didn't get no conversation with anybody who'd done it and who'd give us who the proper people to talk to. So we worked on that for a few years and eventually got it. But when we were ready to win the amateur league, we really were ready, because we took them 3 or 4 years to get everything sorted out, the trainings, more players in a second team, a good strong second team, and we were well ready for it. It's just about we were trying to run before we could walk, when eventually we got in there. Then, you know what I mean?
But that's true. That can happen. Like you just sort of you have ambitions, but at the same time you have to be realistic in your ambitions. The other thing is as well. Carl, have you noticed the club as you have progressed on the pitch as well? Like Decky said there that your first application amateur league was maybe we thrown in. But as you've progressed on the pitch, did you notice the progression off the pitch with the club where the committee getting stronger and then more people playing ways, even wanting to chip in and do a wee bit to progress the club forward?
Yeah, but we always talk about being a family club. One of the best things is like all our junior coaches and all our junior players is all sort of their daddy played for Newhill, the big brother, their uncle. So we sort of had that always like strong community base. And then sort of once we sort of got strong, we had a lot of youth teams sort of, because we used to have like under 16s and then under 12s, and then there was a lot of breaks in between. But now we have from under 5 through to under 16 with no breaks. It's brilliant because all the kids will come and watch us, especially when we're at home in the Falls Park. There'll be crowds of them, especially when there's a good pre-season tournament or anything. I'll expect a lot of them to be over watching and stuff. So it's really built the club from strength to strength that way.
Yeah, you have to, with a club having a youth setup as well, Steady, you've probably noticed as well. These are all Newhill men, so having that connection to the youth team also strengthens the team on the pitch. Like Carl says, there's support, but also you can get that steady influx of players coming in every year, and that just helps. It helps the team on the pitch, and it pushes the boys who are on the pitch already to progress even further. So you can see every year then that these are going to get stronger and stronger. And what's your ambitions now as a club?
We'll have some big ambitions. We're hoping to move up the divisions in the amateur league. It'll not be easy. Like there's a few tough divisions up there. You're what do you use 2A? Ford's 2A, isn't it? Yeah. So we've a wee bit of work to get there, but we feel a wee bit hard done by whenever the coronavirus hit. That we didn't go up. But look, it is what it is. We'll move on. But our ambitions, we want to get intermediate, but I'm sure a lot of teams want to do it there. But that's what we're aiming for. So see them kids you're talking about coming through. Like that includes my own kids. We want them playing the standard football that they don't feel like when they're leaving their juvenile team that they go to like Oliver Plunkett or St James's and thinking it's a step up. They want to be coming up and wanting to go to our senior team because that is the step up for them and that's the right place for them to be. So our ambition is just to keep our own kids at our club and just go from strength to strength.
Have you noticed, Steady, have you noticed when you've made the move to BDFL, the amateur league, have you seen any difference in quality, or have you found the opposition tougher?
So some of the teams obviously have been tougher, but some of the teams we've faced as well, they wouldn't have fared too well in the Premier, the BDFL as well. It's just that the amateur league's more prestigious and probably better run. Maybe not like when you come in at the entry levels, it's not so much jump up as you'd think. There obviously is a few stronger teams, but it wasn't a massive jump up that maybe people who haven't played in the BDFL think it is. They maybe look down their nose a bit at it, but it was just fine. Amateur league's a bit better run. There's a few stronger teams, but there's a few teams in the amateur league, that they probably thought when we came into the league, they've come from the BDFL, sure, we'll just give them a slap, and it was the other way about. Do you know what I mean? They would go into the BDFL and they wouldn't win it. But it's obviously better run and more prestigious. It's just
you can see the last couple of years. Obviously, Willowbank has sort of set the bar for BDFL teams coming in the amateur league. But you've also other clubs there, like Ben Madigan come in and done very well. Matthews, and then
Macalata done it a load of years ago. They come in and right through the divisions.
Macalata, yeah, they were the first big, and at the time they were the BDFL winning junior cups. So it goes to show how strong the BDFL can be and the clubs coming out of it. And then it just strengthens the amateur league as a whole, which is what we all want to see. I just hope that we're out of 2A by the time he's got up myself. Carl, you were talking about earlier about the youth setup, and you said about the guys who are involved in the senior setup being involved in the youth setup as well. As a club then, do you have a structure in place where you want the players who are coming up through the youth setup to be coached the same way as a senior team would, and also try and play a certain style of football the way the senior team would?
I think where we're sort of lucky is most of our coaches are like-minded in their style of football. and we've all discussed it and we've talked about it. This is the sort of level of coaching, what we expect, how we want to play football, and it always it's been good that it's just structured the whole way down the club. I think one of the biggest shows of that was whenever we did win the treble. Out of our 15 players, basically, that was our first team, I think all but one played for Newhill as a junior. So I think that there just sort of showed that it was like, right, this is the club, this is where we as players want to be, it's where we sort of want to strive and sort of keep our players here. So that was like 15 players who went on and won an amazing treble for our senior team. And then that sort of just kept coming through. So it's brilliant watching some of like under 12 teams passing the ball about and getting it down and doing what they're good at. And then it's also great watching young coaches coming through who play for Newhill and then coming through with the similar ideas. It was like, right, this is my style of football. Here's my wee twist to it. But it's all sort of regurgitating the same message that the youth teams.
Yeah. Decky, Carl touched on the fact that players are coming through youth team, and so many out of 15, except for one player, was played for Newhill as a junior. But do you think that helps you on the pitch as well, because there's a loyalty to the club? Because I find a lot of junior teams and you find a lot of players, it's happened even in my own club, coming in who are there for a kick about, but they don't really give a shit if they actually win or not.
Where we're lucky is, what Carl said there, see the team that we have in the first team especially, they were near enough a whole team came through of the same age group. But as regards club loyalty, I remember feeling that the team I came through with years and years ago, it was the same. It's probably a lot of people could probably say this about the team they grew up with, but there was like 18 of us, but 18 of us knocked about together in the street, and people came from different parts of West Belfast or further afield, and we knocked about together in a group, and that creates that sort of loyalty, or that sort of bond. But all Newhill teams have it. It's like it's a given sort of thing. I don't know but probably a lot of players get said about their teams, but when Carr's team came through, that was just a normal thing that we had that sort of bond between us. So even though they were years younger, they still had the same temperament and the same characteristics of any other Newhill team that comes through. Very strong, very close knit, nights out especially and stuff. So even though there was an age gap of 25 years from Steady till the youngest player, it's the nights out and things like that there. They weren't hard work. No trying to amalgamate the players in the squad, because there was the core value of it was Newhill at heart, and everybody sort of had the common ground of like playing for Newhill as a junior. So it translated on the pitch. It was easy. It translated on the pitch. It gave players like myself, who was just going over 30 at the time, another wee boost to keep going. I wanted to be part of that. I wanted to see how his team was going to fare whenever we all grew up,
See, I think that's as well, like a big part of me being involved in football, my own reasons would be not just the football on the Saturday, but after the Saturday, the social aspect to it, the friends you have. And like you said, it keeps you going when you realise this is good crack to be part of, being involved with these boys, playing football on a Saturday, and then the banter after and the slagging.
What else would you be doing? Going shopping with the missus.
I think we need the bars open as much as we need the football pitches open as well.
I'm sitting in my bar.
Decky was slagging me about 25 years. It's not quite 25 years, but some of the boys in the first team, when I play for Newhill, when I first played for Newhill, I played with their dad, so it's not 25. Too far off it.
Joe McKiernan said to me one time that are you not like 40, Decky? And I went, this is about fucking 8 years ago too. And I went, no, I'm not. Why'd you say? He was serious, he was deadpan serious. And I says, what do you mean? He says, you played with my dad. And I went, I know, but I was a young kid in your dad's team, so it wasn't the same age.
Foxy as well, Foxy.
All the lads are summer frames. That's so obviously went into 2C, and I know it was tough, the fact that the season ended. You were one of the clubs who would really wanted the season to finish because there's a really good chance of promotion and also winning the league. You were sitting top when the league finished. Obviously, you had other rivals in the league. You Belfast Celtic, Young Men. You've other strong teams now like Top Mona. The famous San Siro game. You've only got one game this year, didn't you? With Belfast Celtic.
No,
two.
Two defeats. Anyway, move on.
2 defeats. Right.
Move on. Next.
Well, the good thing is, but you have that rivalry, but you can also then, you have had this half a season in the league, as I've seen what our teams offer. You know what they expect next year, and you know what's ahead of you, and obviously your aim's promotion. Have you, Carl, as a player, have you noticed any changes? Do you think you have learned anything from last year playing against those rivals, and what you can do going forward?
I think you'd probably have to ask Decky. When I done my ACL, I done a big mad application for Newhill, 50 years or 50 pages for the amateur league, and then still haven't got to kick a ball in the amateur league yet. So that's probably a question for Decky.
Decky, go ahead, mate.
For the next season, you're asking me about.
Do you think you have learned from last year?
100%. Well, there were certain games we didn't do ourselves justice, and we know that there. Maybe got too caught up in the emotion of what we're trying to do. But look, everybody loves a rivalry in football, and we know who our competition is in the league, and it's just who better prepares for it. We believe we're going the right direction, and we'll definitely go up the leagues. It's just it's the manner in which we do it. We want to do it the right our way, and not be sort of. There was talk about a month or two ago that there was a rumor. Am I still on there? And not Duffy, but there was a rumor knocking about that the leagues were restructured in the amateur league, and the promoted 19 that was sitting top of the league at the time, and there was leagues and all put out. And I don't know what happened. I don't know if somebody went to trouble because they were so bored during lockdown to do this and put this together, but it was very well put together. And you're getting phone calls from everybody from different clubs. Is this happening? Is this happening? And in a way, I wasn't happy about it, because I don't think nobody would have. It always would have been used against us. We want to earn our right, and not give anybody else anything to say about us, because there's plenty of teams that have plenty to say about us. But they should just learn to look after themselves.
It is a strong division where the teams that come in the same season, so it is steady. We said earlier about the rivalry you have with Belfast Celtic going in, and you've talked Mona. So you're probably going to be seeing a lot of these teams going up through the leagues because you're all on the same path. So it'll be a case of then just you did say we said move on, but you did get defeated twice last year with Belfast Celtic. How did you fare against Tuckmona? Because I know they're a strong side.
Played them twice. First game of the season, they beat us 4-1. It was mad. We went in at half time 1-0 up, and I thought we were playing well. And it sounds crazy when you've lost 4-1, but I thought we played well. There was a couple of mistakes and stuff and all. And then the second time I played them, I think it was 0-0 in the park. It was Tuckmona was a good team. St Mary's as well. They gave us a couple of real tough games. They're a real good team. So they are. They were. I think they came into a bit of form towards the end of the season. I think they were in the mixer as well, up near the top. But
it was competitive. It was a competitive league. There was some real tough games. I remember it there, but it was competitive enough that other teams around were dropping points. It wasn't going to be easy for anybody. So it was building itself up for a real tight end. So it was just disappointing. But
I could be wrong. I think there could have been like any combination of 4 teams could have went up in the end, whatever way the season played out. But I think I don't know. I'm nearly sure St Mary's were in the hunt. Obviously, us, Tuckmona, Belfast Celtic were.
Do you think, as a club, Carl, that you have ambitions to win trophies in terms of Junior Shield, Junior Cup, Cochrane and Corey Cup, or is promotion the main aim? And you step on the pitch next year, hopefully you can get yourself back playing next year as well.
I'm back playing for the seconds at the minute, so I was getting there. No, but the aim of everyone in football and what it should be is of course to win games. Whether it be a pre-season friendly, a pre-season tournament, Junior Cup or league game or anything, we want to win everything, and we set that level for ourselves to win every game. So anything less than that, we do of course be disappointed with.
Yeah.
But that is like most football teams. It is winning is the game. That is what you want to be playing for.
Yeah, I want to go on to a couple of questions just on the club in general. So, well, before I do, actually, I'd like to ask us all individually, and feel free to answer just in turn, whatever way you want. The toughest opponent you've ever came across. It could be an individual, it could be a team. I'll start with you, Steady, actually. Toughest opponent you've ever came across.
Player?
Yeah, player or team, you can name either.
I don't know, was never great, like, but coming towards the end, basically anybody I played seemed to run all over me, like, so you could pick anybody from the last 2 years I was playing as tough as opponent.
I was just their legs catching up, was it?
It was.
What about yourself, Decky? Toughest opponent, or?
There's a couple of great saves we've come up against in this with Newhill now. I played a couple of different teams, like throughout the amateur league, and played for Sport and Leisure for a while. Played against some real good, tough teams up at intermediate level. But if I was going to say an individual player playing against, I played with him as well, Sport and Leisure, so I knew how good he was. But playing against him was Tony Norney. He was a special player. He I can't remember how much older he is than me, but he doesn't. The guy could play for another 10 years. He's just absolute quality and hard to play against. And that's with this version of Newhill. It's we played against him and he had a great day against us. But a club, we had a tough game in the Junior Cup or Clarence Cup or one of the cups last year against Green Island, and they were a very, very good, fit, organised team. They did the us. We do to a lot of teams, just play really fast and move the ball well and keep the ball well. Yeah. And just had the right mix of youth with a few older heads. I think a couple of ex-Irish League players playing around about the middle of the park. But they were probably one of the toughest opponents we've met since we've been in the amateur league, like, no doubt.
They actually come up through 2A 2 years ago, and they were very strong save, and they went through it, and very well organised, and the real dedication in their players as well. So there was.
Their junior teams are amazing as well. I think the best player I ever played against was Johnny Fraser, who we played against in the Lisburn League. Johnny Fraser went on the Linfield Glentoran, and now he's playing for Carrick. Yeah. But playing against him as a junior player was probably the standout for me. But Green Island's whole youth setup is amazing at the moment.
I think what we're seeing in general, we've mentioned Green Island there, we've mentioned other clubs, that a lot of teams who are going from strength to strength at the moment, just like yourselves, it goes to show you need a strong youth setup. We have a strong youth setup and a base to build on. Teams are starting to move ahead of other clubs. We're all seeing it, really. So we are, that within the next 10 years, it's going to be those teams with a strong youth setup that are going to be basically dominating the amateur league, I feel.
The thing I've noticed about that is the soccer clubs have seemed to take on the thing from the GA clubs. GA clubs always had kids involved from 4 with a hurling stick or else a football in their hand playing wee mini games. But soccer clubs, like whenever I was coming up, you didn't start playing until under 10. And you didn't really join that team before that. You had played football on the street with your mates. But now, like, we've got mini soccer for the kids from 4 up, and even some 3-year-olds as well. And it's just basic skills. It's just like giving just let them see what the ball's all about and have fun. But every club that's trying to get the kids as young as possible. So when they're coming through the junior, by the time they're 15, they've had 10 years playing football, which is amazing. And then by the time you get a kid in the senior team at 20, he's well ahead of what there was previously. So you still get the rough diamonds that don't start playing football till they're 15 and turn out to be absolute crackers. There's a player he played for us for a while, but he's playing at Crumlin Star now, Mojo. Didn't play football as a kid for any team, and only started really playing for a crack with his mates, and cracking player, brilliant player. It's just a strange one, like he's an enigma. But I know all players are all clubs are trying to get the kids as young as possible to get them pushed on, and it does create strength in the senior team. So it was easier for us to create a senior team having the youth coming through, but it's great having that every single year now. The best kids, there's I think the team Card talked about under 16. I think when the time start back, they'll be under 17. And I would imagine their coaches are also coaches in our senior team. I'd imagine they'll have their eye on them for maybe getting them involved sooner or later. So that's the next thing.
Yeah, because you can involve him in training with senior team early.
Yeah.
Us senior boys, Carl won't realise this, but us senior boys will know, like, that you touched on it there. You didn't start playing football. I don't think I started playing football as 8 or 9. And we finished at under 16.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When you're 16, then it's a big step up. There was no under
18
football. Big step up in junior football. But there was also, I felt at that time there was no connection between junior and senior teams. So I played for Plunkett when I was a kid, but I didn't know much about the senior team. The other thing was my dad was involved in Ford, so I ended up going to Ford. So I had a club to go to, but so many kids would have went out of football, whereas now you can play right up into senior football and you never have to leave it.
Yeah.
It's so much better. You can play from your 5 until you're 35, 45, whatever age you want.
That's over 35. Like.
No, that's we one of them teams now as well. They're brilliant. They're great.
That's our next one.
We'll get steady again one of them. So
yeah. I've been torturing Ermil to set up an over 35 team so I can play again, but he won't listen to me.
Man, it's brilliant. I love it. Because do you see the best thing about the 35s is they're all players, like, but they just can't run anymore. But they're all in the same boat, so they're aware of it. And the football they play, there's no pressing the ball or anything, so it's not. But the football they play is quality to watch. And then when you get that age as well, you realise you don't have as much time left to play football. You maybe not have many games left, and you start to understand it. So they really appreciate it more as well. I love our 35s team. I can't wait.
I know a fella who plays for Tullymore over 30. I think it's Tullymore over 35s, and he says he's enjoying this more than he did when he was younger.
100%. I enjoy going to watch our 35s on Sunday more than I enjoy coaching on Saturday. Maybe because I'm pulling my hair out most of the time on Saturday and I can sit back and enjoy it on Sunday, but that's different. Right, lads, a couple of questions here just to get a wee bit of a dig in against your teammates who aren't here to defend themselves. So, worst trainer at the club. Who wants this one?
I'll take this one. It's definitely Peter. Definitely.
All right, right.
I think Jared Morris.
I forgot it the club. And
I think
their ability to train or their effort levels.
Effort.
Pete walks in 25 minutes late and he hasn't got his boots on yet.
3 cigarettes in his hand.
He doesn't know what different strain is right in his left.
Yeah.
He definitely ruins every drill like but there's a few ones that you wouldn't say are blessed with intellect. So I wouldn't say they're the worst trainers. They try for all their heart, but they don't pick it up too well. But I wouldn't say that's necessarily a bad trainer. But there's one the boys have mentioned. There's Keeley. He's a terrible trainer, absolute terrible trainer. He for the age and size of him, he's like a big girl and he loves a good yap.
Bombay.
So I hope that's one of the questions.
Well, the next one, who's the biggest yap?
Keeley.
I think it's Steady, even though he's not playing. He's really like a banshee.
With a wee sprinkle of Steady, when he screams, like he bursts eardrums, like so. He loves an old moan every now and again, like myself sometimes. But Keeley definitely has
getting off easier.
Keeley definitely has a wee girly yap at every single game about different things. Somebody kicked the shin. He got a scrape on the shin one time. And he walked about the bar afterwards with his trouser rolled up, showing everybody his scrape on his shin. So that says a lot, you know. That's it.
Worst first touch? I might get the same answers here.
I'm putting my head down here.
They've all got an alright first touch. To be fair to them, like.
Yeah.
I really
I'll go for
Jermick. I'll mention Jermick in that one. He hasn't got that first touch.
I'm gonna pull Barry Chambers in this. He's one of them players who's lightning fast, so his first touch is horrible, but he makes up the ground to get it back.
He gets it quick enough, so he does.
He gets away with it somehow.
Who's the slowest?
Go ahead, Steady.
I seen Carl and Duff race for a ball training one time. And I thought time stood still for a second. It was that slow. And Duff won it, so Carl's the slowest.
That's me done his ACL. But
I know, I wish. His imagination's a bit mad, but I'm gonna get laid.
I think I got away with that late here, but I also would mention Big Pete in that as well. He was on like two caravans are holding him back, like.
Loves our parachute.
Running in quicksand, towing a caravan with a parachute in his back to make sure.
That's faking it, mate.
Right, so more sociable ones. The worst dancer in the bar after.
Dylan fancies himself, but I don't think he is a great dancer, to be fair. Like.
I think that's why maybe he's so bad, because he thinks he's so good.
Or maybe big Ermil.
Was Ermil not got a few moves, does
he? Usually falls asleep standing up.
That's his signature move. His signature move, he stands beside the speaker and falls asleep. That's what he does. With a pair of flares on and Dunlap shoes.
He must be worse dresser. That was my next question, is it?
It is.
Aye.
I love his dress sense. I love Valise rings.
Yeah.
Who's punching? That's Jason punching.
Peter.
I'm going steady.
I'm saying nothing. Gemma's my mate, so I'll go with Peter.
I thought these boys were going to get away because we're here, but they're calling each other out. Longest in the shower.
None of them.
Definitely no one who's ginger.
No one who's ginger. No, Jesus, there's no ginger. But I'm
none of them.
By the way.
There's none of them.
Oh, Sully, we have to win. There's a rumor in the club.
But he doesn't get shard.
He doesn't get shard, but there's a rumor that when you win a treble, you get to see it.
He takes it out.
He gets a shard when he gets to travel. So he was walking about with baseball bat. That's all I heard.
Top notch, lads. Listen, lads, thanks very much for coming on. Really appreciate doing it. The first club as well, and the club focus rather than the individual interviews. So I hope everybody listening and watching enjoy it. I know your teammates will be looking to go on to see if they get gutted or not. So,
Gary, just one more thing I'd like to mention there. Just recently, we didn't get it in the podcast, but just literally in the last week, had our first senior ladies team at the club accepted till the NIWFA league. So we've got 2 good coaches in there and a load of interest in it, but that's another big step forward for the club as well. We're hoping that's going to lead from senior ladies into juvenile girls setup as well, which will only make us stronger again. But we didn't get around it there during the questions. Didn't go that way, but just like to mention it because it's a big thing for the club, big step forward.
Yeah, definitely. It's a big progression. So it is for any club to do that. Lads, thanks very much. The podcast is sponsored by Nunners Ross Driving School and Drumbo Park Racecourse. And we'll be back with another interview next week. Thanks very much for listening.
Cheers, Gary.
Cheers,
Thanks very much.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.